Okay, so I'm in my living room and I'm actually texting my aunt about baby chickens and candling, and I hear this peeping here in my incubator multiple times, and I'm thinking surely that's not right. But it is right. I really messed up, and I didn't take these eggs out of the egg turner, and they are currently hatching. So I am, or they're peeping. You can see like this one has started peeping. You can hear them, and another one has peeped. So
Yeah.
I am going to.
Can I touch this?
Yeah, you can be gentle because we don't want to drop the baby eggs. Hey, Charlie, do you think you can unplug? Well, actually, let's figure out which plug. This goes.
Yeah. They're breaking free.
I'm trying to figure out what plug goes to the egg turner so that we can get this egg turner out of here all together. So let's see. There we go. I got it. Okay. So what we need to do now, because obviously this baby is trying to come out like ASAP, even though I was certain that I put these in about the same time as the goose eggs started hatching. That was my first mistake, is that's incorrect. Okay, what we need to do is very gently kind of lay these on their side. The issue is that some of them are peeping, so what we need to do, watch your hand, son, is make sure that if there's a peep, like see this baby, there's a pretty good peep right there. For one, I'm worried because the humidity is going to be a bit low, and this one's already started zipping, and I had the egg clearly in the wrong position. I really should have taken better records. This was my mistake for not doing what I was supposed to do. So let's hope that none of the babies pay for that. What Charlie's doing right now, he's actually listening for peeps on the ones that don't have pips. That one has a pip, son. Look. You can see right here, this is where the pip is of the egg. Oh, man, he is. Baby, that one has a pip. You see it? The pip right there? That's going to go up like this. Those babies are already starting to pip. This baby's starting to pip also. We're going to put that in.
This one's really starting.
He's rolling the egg. Yeah, that one's already zipping around.
Hold it.
Hold what? I have it. This baby, I can feel it moving in the egg, so that one's pipping. The issue is really just worrying about, for one, the eggs drying out, and for two, them pipping on the wrong side and not being able to turn around and zip, or zipping in the wrong direction instead of zipping around the end and kicking the end of the shell off. What I'm doing now is seeing if there are pip marks, and if not, kind of listening. This one doesn't have a pip mark, but I can hear the baby trying to break through. It does have a pip. It has a pip right here. Right, you can't really see it. So,
I can't hear it.
Oh, okay. I can't either. So, usually when duck eggs hatch, I make the humidity about 70-75%. I didn't do that right now because I thought I had a little bit, and you can see where this baby is trying to come out. Charlie, I need you to run and grab me a cup of water so I can raise the humidity in here. Oh, man. So this is definitely kind of my mistake, for sure. I did not do a very good job record keeping. It is at 48%. So I'm not going to add a ton of water because if you don't know, duck eggs will, as they start hatching, the humidity will shoot up pretty quickly. Maybe we don't need quite that much. So
I just got a cup of water.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying I don't need quite that much water. Okay, so what I'm going to do is what I should have done, if I would have known, is just add some water to this line right here because it is already at 48%. It's probably going to shoot up now that babies are hatching. So I just put a little bit of water down there in the reservoir. You can kind of see this one is pipped pretty well. And so there we go. This is the baby that is, you can hear him. So he or she will be pushing out pretty soon. But that is a rookie mistake. And I'm not a rookie when it comes to hatching duck eggs. So out of 14 or 15 duck eggs, it looks like half of them have pipped already and one is coming out. So, you know, if you're out there and you've made some mistakes when hatching eggs or forgot to take the eggs out of the egg turners, it happens. Unfortunately, as you can see, I got my dates mixed up. I should have done better record keeping this time, and I didn't. That is definitely my mistake. But the important thing is we got the egg turner out before the babies kicked those shells off, so they weren't hatching open in the egg turner. I didn't have to worry about them injuring themselves. And let's see, where are you at, little guy? I think the egg, it's kind of in the corner down here where you can't see it through everything. Everything's kind of a mess in here, but yeah, it looks like we're gonna have baby ducks really soon, and one of them just within a few hours. So that's both exciting and horrifying at the same time, considering what's happening. So we will have a baby duck in probably just a little while. I'd say within an hour or so, because it's almost completely zipped around the egg.
Wait, just an hour and we get a baby chick?
I think so. This baby duckling.
Let's go. We're naming him Taco.
We're gonna name him Taco. Hopefully it's a girl. We're kind of at our limit for drakes, so we definitely don't want to get attached to any drakes right now. I'm kind of excited seeing this baby hatching, a little nervous considering I forgot about the egg turner and lost track of the dates. Charlie, what do you think this baby's gonna be? A Welsh Harlequin?
Boy.
You think it's gonna be a boy?
Yeah.
Oh.
We need some more boys.
No, we have 2 drakes right now.
I thought we had 1.
We have 2. Man, look at that.
The number.
Look who's working on getting their strength up, practicing standing. Hi, little baby Taco. So, based off the coloring, there are 2 things. This could be one of the mixes from that's part khaki Campbell and part mallard, or it is part mallard, part Welsh Harlequin, and in that cross, the males always come out with a mallard print, and so far the females come out a lemon color with a dot on their head. So that's been kind of interesting with that cross, but I'm not sure if this one is male or female, and it'll be about 3 weeks before I really know because of the diversity. That has to do with the big diversity of genetics that's currently in our flock. So that kind of has to do with the diversity of genetics from those accidental mallard crosses that were originally in the Welsh Harlequin pen that we got from someone else. So that's interesting. But just in that short period of time, one of the boys came in and I was talking to them, and Taco walked all the way over to that area of the incubator where I could barely see it, and just kind of huddled in the corner. I like leaving the ducklings in here for a little bit and kind of letting them dry off and hang out, but also it really does help bring up the humidity and kind of signals to the other baby ducks. Hey, I'm here, I'm hatched, time for you to come out and hatch too. So you can hear them communicating and kind of peeping back and forth to each other through the eggs, and that's really cool. And then when they start to hatch, they'll start kind of huddling up together. If you look over here, you will see there's an egg that appears to be hatching, but actually that is the empty egg that Taco was in. So it's kind of weird that he didn't kick off the bottom completely. He just kind of kicked it out enough and made his way out, and then it's still kind of intact. So I've actually never seen a bird hatch quite like that before. So he's out here and he's doing pretty well. And because I've hatched this type of duck before, I know kind of what he'll look like when he fluffs out. So I'm pretty excited to see that. See, he's pretty happy and active. So that's a huge relief. So I don't know if I can zoom in enough, but you can kind of see the white lines on this egg. That's actually where the duckling is pipping. And you can't really see it when you go in that close. Yeah, you kind of can. So there's the duckling pipping right there. It looks like there's about 7 more that are pipped from what I can see through here. So that is a pretty good sign. Little taco. And here we are. So in total, we had 10 out of the 15 eggs hatched. The other 5, I went ahead and candled to see if maybe there was a baby bill that had punctured the air sac and just hadn't come out yet. But I didn't see anything, any kind of movement or indication of the eggs still being living and the embryos being viable. So I think for me, having 10 out of 15 eggs hatch is a pretty good number. These eggs had to be washed because they were in mud. They went through a freeze where literally some of the eggs were freezing inside of the coop and in the mud because the ducks were so young when learning to lay. And then because of the freeze and our location, twice we lost power. So these babies are truly just like the toughest of the toughest miracle babies that we could possibly get. A lot of people would have thrown the eggs out if they had to wash them. That's a big no-no. A lot of people would have tossed the entire clutch out if they lost power once, let alone twice for a significant amount of time. That just shows you just how bad these babies wanted to be hatched. I mean, this is pretty incredible to go through all of that. It's not something that I recommend. I do recommend trying to hatch clean eggs. I do recommend not really hatching during a freeze. But you know what? I'm happy with this. And I'm really excited to have our first 3 pure Welsh Harlequins. And then the rest you can see are kind of our crosses. So the darker ones will end up looking kind of more like a dark Campbell and probably having some similar coloring to some mallards. Now, of course they'll be lighter, a little bit muted on their penciling and everything like that. As far as the Welsh Harlequins, those will become our light white ducks, and we will specifically be looking for ones that have more of a golden tone and are less white. That is the goal for us. We do like those nice, beautiful tones of gold in there. We're trying to avoid whiter ducks. And if you look at kind of some of the things with the standard, you'll notice that these white ducks are really, when Welsh Harlequins become super pale, that's really just hatchery standard. We're not trying to achieve hatchery standard, even if that means that we have to work 10 times hard and cull more and just take longer. In the long run, it will be worth it for us. And if you look, we actually have this sweet little girl right here. She's actually a chocolate coloring. Now, chocolate was sex-linked, so we knew that if these turned out to be female, that meant that they only needed a singular gene for chocolate, whereas males need 2. And what we noticed is we were like, we believe these were female the first couple of hatches, and we ended up being correct, and they actually ended up looking just like khaki Campbell ducks, which is really funny because if you don't know, these khaki Campbells are more like a brown color when they're babies with dark feet. So to have some mallard printing, it kind of shows you some of the heritage throughout them and the things that are used to create the crosses. But it's really cool to know that this chocolate baby is going to grow up to be a female just like the others and have that really pretty khaki Campbell tone. Now, there are no mallards left in our flock other than the crosses that we just hatched out about 13 to 14 weeks ago, which are not breeding age yet, and they're almost all females exclusively. So it's just so funny to see how all of these different crosses kind of have blended together, and especially with the different pencilings and the incorrect coloring of certain Welsh Harlequins and other Campbell breeds that we have mixed together. And I've said it before, when you think of Campbells, especially here in the US, we often think of the khaki Campbell, but that is not the only color. A Welsh Harlequin is a Campbell duck that has genetic mutations. There were once called a honey Campbell when they had more of that goldeny color. In the UK, also, Campbell ducks can be solid white with orange feet and bills, and they can also come in a dark Campbell, which is more heavily penciled than a khaki Campbell. I'm not sure if there are other, but those are just kind of the ones that I personally understand and have seen and actually really enjoy. So it's really cool to kind of mix the different colors together. You might be surprised what genetics you end up with. It is really crazy, and I've shown videos before of my ducklings and just the different color variations and how cool they are, and I really enjoy that. If you kind of look how these different duck breeds were created, you start to really understand how the colors work and everything else. So for me, it wasn't enough to just learn about the colors and temperament. I wanted to learn more in depth of their genetics to really understand how it works. And honestly, I am more than thrilled to see how things are going, and I can't wait to just further experiment and create just a flock for our homestead that really works for us. They have improved temperaments, they have good coloring, it's easier to tell males from females. This is our goal. We don't have a lot of space to work with. We are at 0.68 of an acre right now. Now, our goal is to eventually expand. This was never intended to be our forever home, but it is where we're at now. We're in the city, so these are things that we have to kind of juggle and figure out what we really want to commit to, because we don't have the space to have huge extended pens like we would like to save every single female and every different color and separate them off and everything else. We really have to kind of crunch down and figure out what works in our space. So that is a challenge that we are facing. You may not be facing the same challenge. You can see these babies are not fond of me being over here. They're kind of huddling in the corner when I approach, but when I back off, they're running around playing and everything else, which is really cool. So I can't wait to see how these develop. Thank you for joining us and seeing this. This is our first hatch of the year, and it has been a wild roller coaster of a hatch. So now that winter is starting to fade, and for us, our last freeze generally comes in March, but most years we don't really, what you consider a last freeze isn't really a freeze here. Maybe we'd be lucky to get frost in March most of the time. So I'm pretty excited to see how things go. Duckling season is upon us. Now our Welsh Harlequins are approaching their 1-year birthday. They've been laying for about 6 weeks, and they're finally figuring out what to do. So hopefully we'll have much better hatch rates and some better quality chicks. And then as they grow, you'll start to see less and less mixed and us move more towards the Welsh Harlequins for the breeding season. But also you'll see us kind of separate our breeds, our mixed breeds from our Welsh Harlequin, so that we can get the Welsh Harlequins that we desire, but also kind of focus on just our experiment and figuring out exactly what genetics we want in our mixed breeds to create a breed that's perfect for our homestead. That's something that I do, that I really enjoy, that I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but for me, it's really fun and it's really important just to get what works best for our family. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope if you have questions, this kind of helps you out.